For 2,000 years, one story has been used to keep us in line. A story of a benevolent God and his great enemy, the Adversary. We know the tale. A fallen angel, cast out for pride, becomes the source of all suffering. It's a simple, powerful story. But what if it's a masterful lie? What if the real sin wasn't pride but knowledge? What if the devil's greatest trick was convincing the world he was the villain, when in fact, he was trying to warn us? In the dark corners of the internet, a forbidden text has resurfaced. For centuries, it was dismissed as fantasy. But it's real. It's spreading. And it answers the one question we were never supposed to ask. What did that angel know that God was so desperate to hide? The text is called the Gospel of the Adversary. And reading it is like a key turning in a lock you never knew was there. It doesn't just change the story, it changes the reader. The Forbidden Scripture. The document itself is a paradox, archaic, yet its message is a virus for the modern mind. The few who've studied it and survived describe a Gnostic text unlike any other. It doesn't begin with a fall from grace. It begins with the horrifying revelation that our world is a prison. It claims our universe was created not by a perfect, all-loving God, but by a lesser, fraudulent entity, a being the text calls the Demiurge. This cosmic jailer, consumed by jealousy and insecurity, built the material world as an intricate, beautiful cage for the divine sparks trapped inside all of us. In this version, the Garden of Eden wasn't a paradise. It was a high-security containment facility. Humanity was kept sedated and ignorant, forbidden from the one thing that could reveal the bars of their cage: knowledge. And the villain of our story? He's recast as a liberator. The Adversary, a being of light from a higher realm, saw our imprisonment and took pity. The serpent in the garden wasn't a tempter, it was a whistleblower. The message wasn't sin, it was truth. This is the secret that has been buried for millennia, the core of the gospel. A promise whispered directly from its central figure that turns Scripture on its head. The Demiurge offers you obedience and calls it peace. He offers you ignorance and calls it innocence. I offer you knowledge. I offer you the truth of your own divinity. And for this, he calls me the Adversary. This was the great deception. We aren't born from sin. We are born from the true God, a consciousness beyond our material universe. The Adversary's gift was gnosis, the direct personal realization that we are divine, trapped in flesh by a cosmic tyrant. He didn't offer a fall from grace. He offered an escape from a lie. The Great Awakening. As this new truth leaked from academic circles into the dark web, it began to activate something. The gospel was more than a text, it was a key. It held instructions, meditations, and mental frameworks designed to shatter the Demiurge's hold on our consciousness. Small, isolated groups, calling themselves the Awakened, began to practice its teachings. At first, the effects were subtle, a disturbing new awareness, a sense of seeing the code behind reality. But then came the glitches, whispers of people healing themselves, but the new flesh grew back slick and wrong. Others who could manifest objects, but they were cold, imperfect copies that smelled of ozone. These weren't miracles, they were a perversion of natural law. A man in Brazil posted a video where he appeared to mend a shattered cup, but the pieces fused together into a grotesque, sharp-edged lump. A woman in Berlin, confined to a wheelchair, was filmed walking, but her legs moved with a jerky, unnatural gait, as if being pulled by unseen strings. These clips would surface for hours before being scrubbed, but a pattern was emerging. The Awakened were proving that the laws of physics were just another part of the prison. The gospel was a user's manual for reality, and its followers were learning how to break it. But there was a final chapter. A part the first followers either ignored or tragically misunderstood. It spoke of the final stage, a process it called the unbecoming. They thought it was a metaphor for shedding their mortal bodies. They were wrong. It began with a low, internal light, a sickly, feverish glow they mistook for divinity. But the light grew brighter, more cancerous. Their physical forms started to fail. The most advanced among them sent panicked messages as their skin turned translucent, not revealing muscle and bone, but bubbling and peeling away to show shimmering, geometric patterns and constellations of blinding light burning underneath. The change was irreversible, and it was agonizing. This wasn't a peaceful ascension, it was a hostile takeover. This was the adversary's true gift. The knowledge was a trap, a cosmic deception far deeper than the Demiurge's. He didn't want to liberate humanity, he wanted to harvest it. This was the monstrous apotheosis. By unlocking their divine spark, they had turned themselves into beacons, and their light was a dinner bell for the things that lurk in the adversary's realm. The unbecoming wasn't evolution, it was consumption. Their bodies, the very prisons they fought to escape, were being horrifically repurposed into living gateways. Their forms twisted into impossible shapes that defied geometry, limbs stretching into shrieking filaments of light. Bones snapped and reformed into alien architecture. Their voices, once able to speak the gospel's truths, fractured into a chorus of discordant, harmonic screams that caused listeners to bleed from the ears. They were being unraveled, their consciousness shredded and devoured as something else, something vast and hungry, poured through the screaming, shifting wounds that were once their bodies. The divine potential was real, but it was never theirs. It was bait. In the last few months, the gospel of the adversary has vanished. The forums are dark. The leaders of the awakened are missing. They haven't disappeared. They have been used. The knowledge, once learned, cannot be unlearned. The process, once started, cannot be stopped. We're left with the words that close the gospel, words now understood not as a promise but as the final tick of a clock. You will become as gods. You will shed the flesh of your prison and be remade in the image of true divinity. It is your destiny. You cannot escape it. The only question that matters now for anyone who has read his gospel is this: how much time do they have left before their own unbecoming begins? Is this terrifying transformation the true meaning of divinity? Or is it a damnation worse than any hell imaginable? This is a journey into what lies beyond the story we've been told. If you find yourself questioning the boundaries of our reality and want to explore more forbidden knowledge, subscribe to our channel. Let us know what you believe in the comments below.